So tell me if you're like me, and every holiday season you cannot wait to see what weird, strange formulas Huda Beauty will include in her large 18-pan palette release. And this year, Huda Beauty launched the Empowered Palette. So I have it in my hands, obviously, to test it, try it, review it, swatch it, make 2 looks for you, and try out as many formulas as I can in this palette because it is so much more than like just an eyeshadow palette, just a powder palette. It has like a gel hybrid liner situation going on. There's this one weird shade that looks like a river of gel going through the middle of the metallic. There are so many interesting formulas to try out, and it just makes me so excited for makeup. I just love it. I love the creativity, and I love that Huda is always pushing the envelope and trying and experimenting and playing with these different formulas that just kind of like reignite the makeup energy. So not only am I going to be playing with this palette today and having some fun, I also picked up an extra palette for a giveaway. Ooh. So if you would like to enter in for your chance to win this palette, go ahead and check that description box down below. It tells you exactly how to enter, and good luck to you. But enough of the pre-chit chat. Let's dive into this palette and let's see what all the fuss is about. Okay, are you with me? Let's go, boo. Boop. As always, let's talk details and specifications real quick. So you can find this palette at any retailers that already carry Huda Beauty, such as Sephora. Of course, Huda Beauty's website sells it, and I saw a couple others pop up. But it is retailing for $67, and it includes 18 different shades in here. There are 9 powder matte eyeshadow formulas, which we should expect to be highly pigmented, very soft, very true to the normal Huda formula. There are also 2 powder metallics with a soft metallic pearl shine, 1 new crushed flake gold, 2 high shine wet metallics, and then of course the 2 gel hybrid eyeliner shadows that you're supposed to be able to use either as a cream shadow or as a liner or as an eyeshadow base, very multi-purpose. Okay, so we are gonna do some live swatches really quickly. I just wanted to kind of film my reaction to some of these because as I was doing it, I was like, hang on, I need to live swatch these. So this right here is the shade Purpose. It's that kind of cream black shadow that also works as a liner, works as a base. Do need to add a little bit more to that, excuse me. But it feels like a kind of like an oil slick feeling. I'm really interested to see if that like actually dries down, but I'm sure you have to set this one, especially if you have eyes like me that are slightly hooded. And I want to take that brush and show you how precise of a line you can actually get with that. Look at that nice little crisp line there. I don't know if these are waterproof. I have a feeling they are not. So if you have watery eyes like me too, I'm not so sure that's gonna work as a very long wearing eyeliner. So do take note of that. Let's go in with Worthy, which looks to be kind of a maroon brown shade. But when I go to swatch it, it's actually just a very rich, deep, warm tone brown. Of course, same situation with this, being able to get a nice, beautiful, crisp line. And as you see, not very maroon. It's definitely more maroon looking in the pan, but you can see that warm undertone in there compared to the black. Now, this combo I think is going to be amazing with the black. That shade Courageous, it looks like it's almost a black base duochrome. It has a great shift in it, and I think if I put that black or even the brown all over my lid and pop this on top, that's just one quick swatch. You see, it is amazing. It has a very beautiful formula to it where it's not too creamy where I'd be worried that it's going to crease on me, but not too powdery either. Let's do this one over here since in the pan it looks to be very similar in tone. You'll see it really isn't. It's very much different. Yeah, wow, how deceiving is that? Actually, no, I'm looking at my camera and you're probably telling me that I'm crazy. From my angle, this looks copper, but from your angle, that looks like a fuchsia pink. Isn't that cool? I hate to ruin it, but I'm gonna go in with that river looking shade. Whoa, it feels really pillowy almost, like these sides are puffed up. Very strange. I believe this is more of an eyeglass. This might be the other one that they somehow didn't mention in the, wow, that's just, okay, that's just nice. That's a very pretty bronze shade. I'm kind of curious to see, yeah. Oh, even just the gloss side, it has like a beautiful, almost chrome look to it. Let's pop it over here next to it. No, it's almost more diluted. Okay, weird. That's given me all kinds of mixed messages, but overall the shade is beautiful. Do I have a shade like that in one of her other palettes? Sure, I do. It's not as fun. I mean, it's still fun. It's not as creative looking, but you get the same finished result overall. This is just fun when you're like me and you love playing with makeup and having it be fun and interesting. Honestly, I love it. Let's go in with this one over here. That is a marbled shade. She had one just like this in the Naughty Nude that I really loved. I hate ruining it though. Oh my goodness, it makes me so sad. But that is my job over here. Oh, that didn't swatch good at all. I'm going to go in with another layer and hopefully beef it up a little bit. No, still not really giving me much. Okay, let's hop over to the gold shades. This one is called Limitless, and it is beautifully flaky and crumbly, where you know it's going to just look so cool on the eyes. Wow, like look at how rich that is. You kind of need to probably press it onto the eyes when you're working with it. When I first swatched it, as I was changing my mind to do live swatches, I was like, wow, this seems like a very versatile shade where you can go in with a light swatch and just gently kind of press it on to the lid, almost giving like a flaky gold leaf effect, or you can build it up just like this and get that high payoff, blinding gold look. But what I've been wanting to see for so long in a palette, and she finally did it for us, is this shade right here called Charisma. This looks like straight up yellow glittery gold, but not glitter. It's not glitter. It's more of like a soft metallic. It's nuts. Well, I guess there's some glitter pieces in there. Okay, this is blowing my mind. Let's get a closer look here. Do you see that shift? Wow, that is so beautiful and so fun. Looks like there's one more metallic interesting shade, then we'll do some mattes real quick, and that's called Bold Moves. This looks like a mix of, yeah, silvers and gold flakies, and let's see how it looks like. Wow, that is beautiful. That is so beautiful when it's mixed all together too. What a fun formula that is. Let's give a moment for these. How fun is this? I'm just going to go through the mattes really quickly. Nothing really special to, you know, commend or complain about. Just swatching normally, very buttery, pigmented. They feel pretty darn nice for the mattes. And here are all the mattes swatched out. Lots of orange tones and some gray mauve tones in there. Very interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay, so hey, I look different. Okay, I have no makeup on now except my brows. My hair is different. Nails are even different. Look at these cute little nails from the Kiss Halloween collection. But the reason why everything's different is because when I was filming that whole beginning portion of the video, my baby was napping. Well, she woke up early from her nap, like only took a half a nap. So I didn't get to finish my looks. But the good news is I was able to use this palette for 2 days for you guys and get a review started. So we have to talk about that really quickly. I wanted to use specifically the two shades that I think were gonna give me the most trouble. And that is of course the cream shades. So I did use both of those. The first day I used the shade Worthy all over the lid, which I thought was interesting. It actually comes across more gray tone on the lid when you go and slather it on. So that was like a little weird for being such a warm tone. I mean, like it looks maroon in the pan, and then when I did the swatches, it looked just like a warm tone chocolate. And then when I did it on my eyes, it looked gray. I don't know if that has to do with like my acidity levels and it changing the color, but I thought that was weird. Nonetheless, I still pressed on. I used that, and then on top of it, I used that shade Visionary because the swatches I had to build it up quite a bit. It's almost kind of acting like one of those sheen shades that aren't quite a matte and aren't quite a shimmer. It just doesn't really know what to be, and the pigment isn't as intense as I thought. So at first, it gives like a light dusting of copper, which I think basically that maroon shade is muting it down that it's mixed with. It looks pretty in the pan, but when you go to use it, it's an oddball. So I built it up quite a bit. So it looked more copper on the lid. I'm sorry I don't have a before picture, but I'll show you what the video of what this looked like at the end of the day because it's not good. This is a crazy hot mess on one of my eyes. I did rub my eyes forgetting that I was wearing makeup, but let me tell you, the other side I didn't touch and it was just looking really bad after a few hours. I do have slightly hooded lids. It was really humid and hot outside. I was at my daughter's game and things weren't going well, okay? So not only did I try those shades, I figured if I had set that with that, that'll at least work out. It didn't work out, but I also used the black Purpose shade as a gel liner, but I didn't set it. And as you see in the video, like it's completely gone. It's almost just like a clear strip of where the liner should be. So I definitely think you need to grab a black shade in your collection and set that if you're gonna use that. I mean, that's what we're gonna do today, and I'll update you guys if that works, because the next day I went in and I used this shade again as a halo eye because I'm like, well, let me see if it needs a matte powder, you know, using the setting technique. So I did a a halo eye, first going in with the shade Visionary, and then I set it with the shade Confident because that looks like the most similar. And I really don't want to have to grab another palette if I don't have to. And then through the middle, I used the shade Charisma because it's so flaky. I was kind of wondering if it was going to come across patchy. That shade worked amazing. All day it lasted. I had a tiny bit of creasing, but it was like a 10-hour wear. It's to be expected with my slightly hooded eyes to have like a little bit of creasing with metallic or creamy shades. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I could deal with that. That was fine. That was beautiful. But you see that the darker shade that I set, it did wear down a little bit. I wish that I was in a rush. We were trying to get to my daughter's games, so super busy weekend. So I didn't have a chance to film the before everything, but it was like a really rich, deep halo eye that looks really pretty, but it just wore down throughout the day. So these gel cream formulas, they're not really working for me right now as it stands. So I personally wouldn't buy it for that. I'm loving the rest, kind of, not loving that shade, but I'm gonna play around with the rest. I'm definitely going to use that Rivery shade and see because it's so weird. We will try to set the black eyeliner. Hopefully it'll work out that way. But there's like a quick little mini review that I wasn't expecting to be able to do for you, but I'm so glad that I did because this is just a like more in-depth review that I wouldn't normally know those things just off of first impression. So let's go in now and do one look on each side. Let's play around. Let's see if we can get the rest of these shades to work. I'm not worried about the rest of the shades, but honestly, you never know. You never know. Okay, so obviously my brows are done. I'm gonna go in with my ABH eye primer just as I usually do. This is usually a tried and true, so therefore I can't blame the primer if things don't go right. P.S. If you hear some background snoring in this video, please enjoy the sounds of my senior dog snoring in the background, Mr. Harvey. He is 12 years old now and he's been really wanting to come in with me when I'm filming lately, so of course, I'm not going to deny that poor little fellow. He just wants to be close to us. But you'll have to excuse his snoring. It just means he's really relaxed and really getting some good sleep. And since there are no like base shades that work for me in this palette, I'm just going to grab my Huda Beauty Nude palette because this is like the literal perfect base shade for me called Bear in there. And I'm just going to set underneath my eyebrow. Ooh, and because we had such a long, crazy weekend, I'm going to throw on some little gel under eye hydrating patches, whatever. These are the Good Molecule ones that you can get at Ulta. They are super hydrating and are really nice. And you know what? It's gonna 2-for-1. It's gonna catch any glitter fallout that I have because I did get some glitter fallout with that gold shade. Again, to be kind of expected. It's called a flaky. It was very flaky. So I would not recommend having your makeup done ahead of time. I'll start by going in with the transition shade called Power. Let's do it on this side. Even though it looks really neutral in the pan, it is coming across very orange in tone. Now I'm switching to a flatter blending brush and I'm gonna go into, let's go into Best Self, which is down on the bottom. And we're just deepening up the crease with that shade. Again, very orange in tone. This one to be expected. This one looks on the eyes as it does in the pan. Oh, I just love the way the mattes perform from Huda Beauty. They are so pretty, soft, blendable, buildable, bangarang. I'm gonna play with the Confident shade a little bit on the outer corners. Oh yeah, it's definitely not as maroon on the eyes as it is in the pan. That's so weird. I wish it was. I wish it was a true maroon. It's a little more different than some of her other palettes, like the Naughty Nude palette. That one's very maroon in tone. This one, it's more of a black and gold gray theme. Okay, just to help that shade blend into the other ones I laid down, I'm taking in Legacy and I'm very, very gently pressing it right in between those shades. And it's just helping to make for a softer blend. Because that maroon shade came across so cool in tone, it just wasn't behaving the way I thought it was going to be. It's also like the driest of all of them, which is weird. All the other ones feel like that super buttery powder formula. This Confident shade is very dry feeling, which is not what I expect in a Huda matte powder. This, don't mind this, that is just the gel. So it doesn't like actually look like that. But anyways, let's go in now with Manifest, that River shade. So cool to look at. So awesome. This is what I'm talking about. I love seeing her push the envelope with these kind of things. But does it actually like work out or is it just a gimmick? Let's first take like the side with the pigment in it, with the metallic. Looks awesome. I'm just going to plop it on here. I want to just see how it does by itself. Yeah, that's just like a standard metallic. Now I'm gonna mix it in, even though it kills me because it's so cool. You just don't even want to touch it. I want that jelly formula. Yeah, I can see it on my finger, it being a little bit different. Kind of makes it more of a gloss. So basically like a fancy eye gloss. This is what this is. So let's pack it on. Oh yeah, instantly I can see it actually has more pigment that way. And it's sticking to my lid really nicely. Yeah. Like, see that? That's a total transformation shift. The other way was almost more of a subtle metallic. This is becoming more intense. Like liquid molten bronze. That's fun. I really enjoy the way that's looking on my eyes. I don't know how longevity is going to go, honestly. Eyeglasses with me don't tend to work out, but it looks really pretty. I hope it dries down nice. And I also want to mention, I don't know how long a shade like this would last because I have to use quite a bit. And like, will it maintain its glossiness? I don't know. I'll save the liner portion for the end. Let me move on to the other side. On this side, let's embrace some of that cool tone vibe and let's go in with the shade Winter. I'm gonna do like a halo eye. So let's go in shade with Winter, and I'm probably gonna use bold moves, but I also kind of want to use Courageous because it's very shifty. So let's start by popping these on the outer and inner corners. And then I'm just blending out those edges and bringing them up a little bit. Let's go back in with Confident, since like I said, it kind of comes across grayish anyways. And let's deepen this up a little bit too. I honestly just wish she did a black shadow in here, like a super pigmented black shadow to really round out this palette. But then people would be like, oh my gosh, it's just a plain black. Why'd you do that? But I really like when palettes that are big are complete, because if I want to travel, I don't want to have to bring other things, you know? Okay, let's go in. Oh man, I want to do both. I need more eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your eyeballs because I only got 2. I want to use Bold Move because that's awesome. And I want to use Courageous because that's awesome. But you know what? Courageous doesn't really make sense for this look. So forget it. Forget it. Let's just give another little moment here to see a shift. Oh yeah, that is very fun. See, very cohesive. I could see that with a bunch of different looks. It actually probably would look pretty cool on this eye look, but I think I'm gonna go for a more standout shade. Yeah, look at the difference. Maroon, gray, like, whoa, crazy. But anyways, I'm gonna go in with that Bold Move shade. It's just a really cool mix of a gray, not even silver, and then mixed with some gold. So it makes it really cool, like antique looking. That's what this looks like. This looks like a very antique, like you're going antiquing and you're finding old tarnished silver that wasn't polished correctly. This is what it is, and I like it. I like it a lot. Very cool. And the formula feels really nice as well. Ooh. Let's pop in now some gel liner. So I'm going in with Purpose this time. I've only used it that one time for that one look. And we'll set it. Actually, hang on. Let me grab a black real quick. I'm gonna grab my Dollhouse palette because there is a black shade in there called Stitched, and I will pop that on top. Like, look at that's going on very beautifully. And guys, how has no palette done this before? At least not one that I think of. Like, why aren't we including some gel liners? I know not everybody likes gel liner, but it's one of those things that's like so obvious, but nobody's ever done it. I just wish, oh no, set it right away. Set it right away. Crap. Look at how wet that is. I can clean it up, but oh, hang on. Okay, I actually have to redo that now because it stamped that gold onto the gel liner. Don't move. Okay. And then let me go in with the powder. I don't want to do that with my face. I'm going with the powder shade in the other palette and set that. Ooh, okay. I'll fix that in a second. Let me do the other side. Oh, it only always looks so weird having two different eyes going on at once. But, okay, did I fix this? You know, I fixed it, but in the monitor, I'm seeing like heavy black pigment in there. That was a mistake. Set it before you do anything with your eyes, okay? Do one eye at a time, and then set it, because I'll have to go back in and fix that again. But whatever, let's go in with the lower lash line really quickly. I'm just gonna use the same transition shades on the bottom. I am melting as we speak, okay? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Don't use that Manifest glossy shade with the creams, because even though I set that cream liner, because that's still glossy and still hadn't really dried down, it's like restamping it. So this is slowly turning into a mess. I wouldn't say this is beginner palette friendly. Definitely more advanced, and have some patience, have some dry time, have some time to create these looks. But I'm gonna go think some more on it, do the rest of my makeup, and I'll tell you my overall thoughts and opinions on this Huda Empowered Palette, okay? Wow. So I am truly flabbergasted, shocked. I was not expecting this. Okay, let's talk. So this is the finished look. I didn't bother with lashes today because, like I said, I am literally melting as we speak. My eyes are, so I don't want to waste some lashes on it when I know this eye look's not going to hold up. Neither of them. As you see, that cream liner has transferred onto the glossy side, especially the glossy side, because it's just staying wet and it's just not working for me. I think you'd have to do like a super duper heavy duty waterproof liner there if you want to do that. And then on the side, this other side, I mean, that way it's stamped, it's just not going away. The way that I would have to fix that, but I wanted to show you guys, I would have to go in with a black shadow to like finish the blend, because that maroon shade just really isn't, it's not fixing it. It's like almost not rich enough to do the job. It needs a really deep dark shade in there. And I just feel like that's missing in the palette. I mean, it is missing in the palette. They should have just made that a black, or almost black at least. I don't know, because it's just not, it's not working, and this needs to set like super duper heavy duty. I'll pop in a video right here of the end of the day. Let's see if setting the liner made a difference at all. Okay, it's the end of the day. These are how these looks are looking. The liner did fare a little bit better by setting it, but because this was such a glossy formula, look at that. That is just a mess. I gotta be honest, it's looked like that for a few hours. It took only a few hours to look like that. You know what I mean? So that's not gonna be hooded eyelid friendly whatsoever. Any kind of hood that you have, stay away. Unless I can get it to work somehow. Now this side, the golds are actually doing really good. So why are the mattes creasing on me? I think it's because of that liner, maybe. And look at how much it fell down here. Look at the liner just like melted off my face. So the gel liner is not gonna work for me. I didn't like it as a base either. So those two shades might be a bust. And even that gloss, even though it was so fun to play with, it's like a couple hours look. That's it. Okay, so pros and cons to this palette. Let's talk pros really quickly. It's fun, it's exciting, it's unique, it has a lot of different unique formulas. It's a lot of fun to play around with. I like the overall color story. I think these golds honestly are really what shine in the palette, and even this fun antique silver I'm really liking on the eyes. There's some more shades that I can play around with, but we used a lot today. There are some pros to be had, but let's talk about the cons. Cons, I mean the price point, $67. It's more pricey, but it's on par with her normal large pan palettes and the amount of different types of formulas. This is not just like a basic powder formula like we talked about in the intro. It's so much more than that. For me personally, I know this is petty, but I just really don't love the packaging. It just doesn't look as luxe as her other holiday time palettes, like last year's. I mean, you can't compare to that rose quartz packaging. That is just stunning. So it's hard to go from that to this. The eyes is kind of like a throwback to when she used to do the eyes. So I don't mind the eyes. It sounds so stupid, but it's really just like the font and the way power is placed in the Empowered. I feel like it looks like that. There was like that red charity at some point and something like that. That is what it looks like to me, and it's not that. So it's just kind of weird. I wish she just did that differently. Somehow made it empower differently, because I like the QR code thing. I think that looks really cool. It looks really futuristic. And I'm not knocking the name of the palette. I understand the inspiration. All the promotional materials totally went over the empowered message, and I love the messaging. It's just really petty and stupid, but I just feel this way that I just don't like the way it's laid out. I wish it was a different font or something. Just the word empowered, I think, stands out on its own. It didn't need these little parentheses and stuff. But again, it's nitpicking. The other cons would be, like I mentioned, I think that this is not a palette for beginners. It's very advanced. Even I'm having a difficult time at getting them to work. I'll have to do some playing around to get them to have that longevity that I need in a palette, because I don't want to be like melting half an hour within applying the eyeshadows. And obviously a major con is I can't really get these cream gel liners to work. I love the concept of them. They're just not lasting and behaving. I get it, because she can't just do a waterproof, well, she could just do a waterproof gel liner in here, but then it wouldn't work as a cream shadow, and I can see why she's trying to make it multi-purpose. It's just not lasting. Maybe if you don't have any kind of hooding to your eyelids, you'll be fine and you won't have this problem that we're having. But any of us that do, be forewarned, it's having issues. Do not set it with any kind of the creamy metallics, because it will not set down. You have to set it with a powder, and hopefully that will last. But even still, I had some difficulties with the halo eye yesterday with it, because it just stays hot on your skin. It's just not drying down. It needs a different ingredient in there that'll help make it more dry easier. I don't know. So I was asked a few times to do some swatch comparisons with the Empowered and the newer My Dream palette from Natasha Denona. Out of all of the shades, these are the closest ones I could find to each other. These aren't everything swatched, because there are, when it comes to anything after this, quite a bit of differences between the two. Of course, between the two of them too, the textures and formulas are way different. This one is basically your matte palette with your duochromes and shimmers in there, and there is a multi-chrome in there. The closest one to that shade is this black based duochrome, but it just doesn't quite have the same effect as this one. Look at its green and it's pink. That's just amazing. If I were to pick right now personally between the two of these, I would go with My Dream palette, just because it played much better on my eyes. It was quicker, simpler to do a look, and it lasted a lot longer. Even though the mattes are swatching better when it comes to this palette, they actually weren't performing as good on the eyelids as my Natasha Denona palette. So that was very surprising for me, because I've been a Huda Beauty like stan for these large palettes for so long now that I'm a bit surprised that it didn't work out all around as well. I want to say, I mean, there's three shades that are going to be inusable for me, maybe even four. I didn't love that Visionary shade. The rest I can use, so then it puts it basically the same, because you're getting 3 less shades in here versus this one. But when you can't use at least 3 of those shades, does that really matter? Color concept too, even though it has some similarities, to me they are different enough. I mean, like, you get these berry shades, those brown shades performed much better. Even the black, even though it's not as black as the gel, I mean, it performed beautifully. There are a couple other channels that have a ton of comparisons to other palettes too, so I'll link my favorite ones that I found down in the description box so you could check them out as well. Yeah, this was surprising. These are always like a shoe-in for me, so I'm a little shocked that it's not 100% knocked out of the park. A bit of a roller coaster of emotions for me, but I had fun playing it nonetheless, and I love just playing with makeup. And if you love playing with makeup and watching other people play with makeup, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos from me. And then if you wanted to enter that giveaway, because I do have another one, you know, for you to play with possibly, go enter that giveaway by checking out the description box for your rules of entering. But I gotta go. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.